The EU has approved Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. That's right, it is officially approved in the EU. Microsoft is now allowed to acquire Activision Blizzard. Here is the official statement. The EU competition says EU Merger Control Commission clears acquisition of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft subject to conditions. So let's see this. First of all, let's point out on the left-hand side, they say there is no harm to distribution of console games. Console gaming is $6 billion. They don't see any issue with any problem there. Anyway, no access to Activision Blizzard games. Some of the remedies that they offer for cloud gaming was free license access to all Activision games for cloud game streaming providers and users, creates opportunities for innovation, prevents barriers for competitors, and competitors offer cloud gaming users, which is EEA $300 million access to these games. It is bizarre to me that cloud gaming became this huge thing because on their chart, they say there's no issue, if I'm reading this right, there's no harm to distribution of console games, right? So they're not worried about the $6 billion industry, but they're worried about the $300 million industry and they need remedies there. Okay, whatever. Anyway, Brad Smith has actually commented about the results today, so let's read what he had to say. The commission has required Microsoft to license popular Activision Blizzard games automatically to competing cloud gaming services. This will apply globally and will empower millions of consumers worldwide to play these games on any device they choose. He seems all good for it. So now the question that looms is what is going to happen with the CMA appeal? We know that Microsoft has hired the Queen's attorney to appeal that case. I believe there's some restructuring happening at the CMA right now. I'll have to do a little bit more digging to explain that a little bit better. So once I have an understanding, maybe I'll make a video about what's happening there, because the CMA decision and the appeal is going to be paramount to how Microsoft and Activision Blizzard continue going forward. Now, there is an FTC case slated for August that might still go to trial, but with the EU approving and everywhere else approving, especially in the console market, it's going to be really interesting to see if that goes to trial and what happens over the next few days in regards to the CMA. Will the CMA fold? Will they revert on their decision? Is something going to happen there where they're like, oh, well, the EU's approved now, maybe we accept those cloud gaming changes and we also approve it? But I don't know. Go watch the episode of Michael Pachter right here. And if you like this channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. And if you're already subscribed, hit that like button. Let's read the full statement, though, from the website where they have the whole thing posted, the EU website. Mergers Commission clears acquisition of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft subject to conditions. The European Commission has approved, under the EU merger regulation, the proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft. The approval is conditional on full compliance with the commitments offered by Microsoft. The commitments fully address the competition concerns identified by the Commission and represent a significant improvement for cloud gaming as compared to the current situation. Today's decision, so they're actually saying, hey, with these proposed concessions that we've made, this is actually better for cloud gaming as a whole. So go for it. So it's like just the polar opposite of what the CMA says. That's really interesting. Today's decision follows an in-depth investigation of the proposed acquisition of Activision by Microsoft. As always, the Commission has based its decision on hard evidence and on extensive information and feedback from competitors and customers, including from game developers and distributors, as well as cloud game streaming platforms in the EU. The Commission's investigation. Today's decision follows an in-depth investigation of the proposed acquisition by Activision by Microsoft. Both companies develop and publish games for PCs, consoles, and mobile devices, and distribute games for PC. Microsoft also distributes games for consoles and offers the Xbox console, along with a wide range of products and services, including the PC operating system Windows. Activision's games portfolio includes famous franchises such as Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Overwatch, and Diablo. The Commission's preliminary investigation found that Microsoft could harm competition in the distribution of console and PC video games, including multi-game subscription services and cloud game streaming services, and 2, the supply of PC operating systems. Now, you remember they actually offered a better solution to the CMA for this, and the EU has just accepted their conditions because they had been regularly discussing this with them. So I'm really, really curious what will happen. Like, is something happening right now? If it is, let me know in the comments and I'll make a follow-up. But anyway, so we read that part. The Commission's in-depth market investigation indicated that Microsoft would not be able to harm rival consoles and rival multi-game subscription services. At the same time, it confirmed that Microsoft could harm competition in the distribution of games via cloud game streaming services, and that its position in the market for PC operating systems would be strengthened. That's nuts to me, because think about that for a second. They're saying it's totally fine. There's no way you could harm any console competitor on the market by just making your games exclusive to the Xbox platform. But cloud gaming, the smallest sliver of the market, is what we're really worried about. It's just it's whatever. Like, Microsoft doesn't, they're like, okay, cloud gaming, sure. We'll give it to everybody. They'll still have to pay us licensing fees, but yeah. Anyway, in particular, the Commission found that Microsoft would have no incentive to refuse to distribute Activision games to Sony, which is the leading distributor of console games worldwide, including the European Economic Area, EEA, where there are 4 Sony PlayStation consoles for every Microsoft Xbox console bought by gamers. Indeed, Microsoft would have strong incentives to continue distributing Activision games via a device as popular as Sony's PlayStation. Thank you for being the voice of reason. They've said they're going to offer it to their competitors. They said they're going to expand that reach to Nintendo and other console owners, providers. I don't know, whatever you want, like Nintendo, right? So why would they withhold it from the biggest console manufacturer in the world? Nintendo being one of them, which they're going to actually expand to, and then the PlayStation 5. It never made any sense. So nobody has flagged that the console area was an issue. Even if Microsoft did decide to withdraw Activision games from the PlayStation, this would not significantly harm competition in the consoles market. Even if Call of Duty is largely played on console, it is less popular in the EEA than in other regions of the world, and is less popular in the EEA within its genre compared to other markets. Therefore, even without being able to offer this specific game, Sony could leverage its size, extensive games catalog, and market position to fend off any attempt to weaken its competitive position. I feel like I'm reading a sane person for the first time since like the Brazil documents. This makes sense, because like, look, regardless of how you feel about it, if Xbox were to just make everything exclusive to their console, they would lose tons of money, and it wouldn't hurt PlayStation that much. You're not going to go sell your PlayStation because Call of Duty isn't there. Most of the people who watch these videos, I'm guessing, you probably don't play every Call of Duty, right? So if you do, let me know in the comments below. Are you a huge Call of Duty fan? And you're just like, am I going to lose access to Call of Duty because of this deal? No, you're not. And you never were. They announced like from the get-go that they plan to keep it on PlayStation. And now they've signed tons of legal documents attesting to that. And they're actually going to expand reach of who has access to Call of Duty. So anyway, continuing on. Even without this transaction, Activision would not have made its games available for multi-game subscription services, as this would cannibalize sales of individual games. Therefore, the situation for third-party providers of multi-game subscription services would not change after the acquisition of Activision by Microsoft. The acquisition would harm competition in the distribution of PC and console games via cloud game streaming services, an innovative market segment that could transform the way many gamers play video games. Despite its potential, cloud game streaming is very limited today. The Commission found that the popularity of Activision games could promote its growth instead if Microsoft made Activision games exclusive to its own cloud game streaming services, Game Pass Ultimate, and withheld them from rival cloud game streaming providers. It would reduce competition in the distribution of games via cloud game streaming. Let's pretend they're not talking about Call of Duty for a second. You know what might work via cloud game streaming, at least for the PvE segment? World of Warcraft. Now imagine if World of Warcraft expanded its reach to be available on every television in the world, every console in the world. That's what a lot of people have been discussing. Or like even Diablo, games that can be played with a reasonable amount of latency and you can still be successful in. I think those are the games that are going to do very, very well via cloud game streaming. Now, maybe I'm wrong about World of Warcraft. I haven't played a ton, but I have to imagine that that comes to Game Pass PC like imminently. Like as soon as this is done, I'm very excited to start playing World of Warcraft, or at least check it out. I think you can play for free anyway, but anyway, point being, I do think it's going to be a big market for them. If Microsoft made Activision, well, not big because it's only like a $300 million market, but I think you know what I mean. Anyway, if Microsoft made Activision games exclusive to its own cloud game streaming service, Microsoft could also strengthen the position of Windows in the market for PC operating systems. This could be the case should Microsoft hinder or degrade the streaming of Activision games on PCs using operating systems other than Windows. See, that's weird because like it's streaming. Your cloud game streaming. Your operating system doesn't matter. You open a Chrome browser and you play it on Chrome. So it's really strange to me when they're like, oh, well, cloud game streaming could be worse on Mac than it is on PC. It's like, do you use the same internet protocols as everybody else? Then it's going to be the same. Like, it's not an experience that I think your operating system really impacts, right? Like even, well, Mac is based on Linux, but anyway, like even a Linux OS or whatever, it's just such a strange argument that Microsoft's probably like, you don't know how operating systems work, do you? Or I'm missing something. Like I'm missing something about operating systems. Let me know in the comments. Anyway, the proposed remedies to address the competition concerns identified by the Commission in the market for the distribution of PC and console games via cloud game streaming services, Microsoft offered the following comprehensive licensing commitments with a 10-year duration. A free license to consumers in the EEA that would allow them to stream via any cloud gaming streaming services of their choice, all current and future Activision Blizzard PC and console games for which they have a license. So basically, pay us a licensing fee. We don't care. You can have it on your cloud game streaming services. A corresponding fee licensed to cloud game streaming service providers to allow EEA-based gamers to stream any Activision Blizzard PC and console games. Today, Activision Blizzard does not license its games to cloud game streaming services, nor does it stream the games itself. These licenses will ensure that gamers that have purchased one or more Activision games on a PC or console store or that have subscribed to multi-game subscription service that includes Activision games have the right to stream those games with any cloud game streaming service of their choice and play them on any device using any operating system. The remedies also ensure that Activision games available for streaming will have the same quality and content as games available for traditional download. Now, what's really interesting is Brad Smith has publicly said, yeah, that's fine. This applies globally, so we don't mind. So if PlayStation comes out and cries foul, it's on PlayStation. It's like, so you don't want to pay the licensing fee that everybody else has on the table? Well, that's on them. So it puts PlayStation in an interesting spot to make their comment. And I have to imagine that's why they never commented on the CMA decision, because they're like, what? Anyway, these commitments fully address the competition concerns identified by the Commission. This is longer than I thought, by the way, so a little longer video today, but people don't seem to mind that. The competition concerns identified by the Commission and represent a significant improvement for cloud game streaming compared to the current situation. They will empower millions of EEA consumers to stream Activision games using any cloud gaming services operating in the EEA, provided they are purchased in an online store or included in any active multi-game subscription in the EEA. In addition, the availability of Activision's popular games for streaming via all cloud game streaming services will boost the development of this dynamic technology in the EEA. Ultimately, the commitments will unlock significant benefits for competition and consumers by bringing Activision games to new platforms, including smaller EU players, and to more devices than before. The Commission carefully investigated the effectiveness of the remedies, collecting views from a large number of market participants and stakeholders. In particular, cloud game streaming service providers gave positive feedback and showed interest in the licenses. Some of those providers have already entered into bilateral agreements with Microsoft based on the proposed licenses to stream Activision games once the transaction is completed. Taking into consideration the feedback of the market, the Commission concluded that the proposed acquisition, as modified by the commitments, would no longer raise competition concerns and would ultimately unlock significant benefits for competition and consumers. So interesting that the EU came to this conclusion and said this will benefit competition and benefit consumers, versus the CMA that's like, we got to shut it all down, man. This $300 million market versus the $6 billion market. Yeah, we don't care. But the 300, like, it's nuts to me. But the EU figured it out. Maybe the CMA will also, or it's going to be really interesting to see what happens there anyway. The Commission's decision is conditional upon full compliance with commitments under supervision of the Commission. An independent trustee will be in charge of monitoring their implementation. The graph we looked at before, again, no harm to console gaming. Companies and products. Microsoft is a global technology. We know what Activision Blizzard is. We know what cloud game streaming is, right? Yeah, so they're just defining the terms. Cloud game streaming, while still nascent, represents a growing industry trend with increasing availability of streaming platforms, also EU-based. Thanks to this technology, games can run in remote servers and do not need to be installed in the gamers' end devices. Therefore, cloud game streaming allows gamers to stream games and play them on any device of their choice, even on devices that would not normally support the game. Despite its potential, cloud game streaming still represents a very limited part of the overall market for the distribution of games today, accounting for only around 1% of the total worldwide market in 2022. To unleash its potential, cloud game streaming will require broader game catalogs and high-speed internet. The Commission has the duty to assess mergers. Let's see if there's anything important here. Okay, yeah. Quotes. Video games attract billions of users all over the world. In such a fast-growing and dynamic industry, it is crucial to protect competition and innovation. Our decision represents an important step in this direction by bringing Activision's popular games to many more devices and consumers than before, thanks to cloud game streaming. The commitments offered by Microsoft will enable for the first time the streaming of such games in any cloud game streaming services, enhancing competition and opportunities for growth. That's from Marguerite Vestager, Executive Vice President in charge of competition policy. Boom. There it is. Now, there's a larger document. I'll read that later. But the question remains, how is the CMA going to react? How are they going to approach the FTC case coming in August? There's still a few more things to talk about. Do they clear it at this point? So they said if the CMA and the EU approve, they don't care about the FTC. Like the FTC's case is a joke at that point, right? But the EU is approved, but the CMA has not. So how do they tackle the FTC situation? We'll keep covering it here on the channel. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when my content goes live. If you already subscribed, hit that like button in this video. I think I covered off on everything. If anything else develops, I'll cover it in the coming days. Thank you so much to the members for supporting me through this whole journey. It's going to be interesting to see how it concludes, especially given the news today. If you want to become a member and see these videos with no ads, hit that join button. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see my last video, it was actually don't count Xbox out just yet. And today's news certainly is going to add to not counting them out. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.